Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy is going on trial today. He is charged with corruption and influence peddling in a phone tapping scandal. Sarkozy has already faced several other judicial investigations since leaving office in 2012. But this is the first time he, or any French president for that matter, is on trial for corruption. Sarkozy is accused of having tried to illegally obtain information from a magistrate about an investigation involving him in 2014. France 24's Valerie Dekimpe is reporting now from the courthouse in central Paris. Valerie, what's the latest from there on the trial today?
Well, the trial will begin shortly, and Nicolas Sarkozy will appear before a judge alongside two other defendants, Thierry Herzog, his lawyer, and Gilbert Azibert, a top judge. Now, prosecutors say that Sarkozy and Thierry Herzog, they attempted to bribe a top judge, Azibert. They wanted him to hand over confidential information on an investigation that was targeting Nicolas Sarkozy and to basically influence that case in Sarkozy's favor. Now, in return, Sarkozy would help Azibert secure a high-profile job in Monaco. Now, there is a lot of uncertainty surrounding this trial at the moment. It could actually be postponed, and because of the coronavirus, Gilbert Azibert, who is 74 years old, well, he says that his health does not allow him to appear in court today. Now, a judge is expected to order medical exams to determine if, in fact, the man, he's too frail to appear in court. So a great deal of uncertainty really surrounding this case at the moment. And what we do know is that if one of the defendants is absent from the trial, then the trial can simply not go on as expected. Whether the trial takes place today or in a few weeks, what is certain is that Nicolas Sarkozy has fought furiously over the past few years to have this case dropped. And what's important to know, as you mentioned, is that the case is based on wiretaps of phone conversations between Thierry Herzog and Nicolas Sarkozy. And both men, they say, well, this is basically illegal. It's a breach of client-attorney privilege. And so Sarkozy's defense is expected potentially to bring that up again. And more importantly, because Gilbert Azibert, the judge, he never got that high-profile job in Monaco, well, then his defense is also set to argue, well, simply there was no corruption because it actually never happened.
Valerie, this is perhaps the highest profile case linked to the former president, Nicolas Sarkozy, but it's not the first. He's been involved in several scandals over the years. Tell us a bit more about those.
Right, so Nicolas Sarkozy, he was president from 2007 to 2012, and he was nicknamed the bling bling president because many people here in France thought that he had some sort of lavish lifestyle. So his personal life certainly made headlines over the past few years when he divorced his wife to marry Carla Bruni, a famous model and singer. He also made headlines when he spent his holiday on a private yacht. So certainly Nicolas Sarkozy has received a certain level of scrutiny over the past few years, but he has also been the target of several investigations. And what's interesting is that the current corruption accusations were brought to light when investigators were actually looking into a separate affair, the Libyan affair, over claims that Nicolas Sarkozy had received illegal campaign funding from the late Libyan leader Muhammad Gaddafi for his presidential campaign back in 2007. And during the course of that investigation, well, that's when investigators picked up phone conversations that suggested that Sarkozy tried to bribe that judge, Azibert. So really, it is quite astonishing to see that there's a scandal within another scandal involving a former French president. That's why prosecutors, they have described Sarkozy as a seasoned offender. He is also set to appear in court later in March of next year for another investigation, another case over claims that he used fake invoices to spend more than 43 million euros. double the amount that candidates are allowed to use here in France for his campaign. And throughout it all, what's interesting is that Nicolas Sarkozy has remained fairly a popular politician here in France. People usually stand in line for hours to see him whenever he publishes a book. So really still quite a popular politician here in France, despite all of these scandals.
Valerie, thank you for that. Valerie Dekimpe reporting from that courthouse where Nicolas Sarkozy is due to appear on trial shortly today.